Hey everybody, it's Proud Drew Dracy, 30-year veteran in the comics industry and 3-time author with Amazon exclusive prose novels called The Demands. It's a 3-book series. It's based on an imaginary band of the same name in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This indie band plays a lot of clubs and bars that are owned by the Russian mob, and things get really ugly when our lead character, Lainey, she starts to date the nephew of the top mobster. Lots of violence, a lot of grit, dark humor, coming of age, a little of everything, and oh yeah, rock and roll. Okay, now this was a book. This was for a while there. I mean, Marvel and DC just. There was such a huge speculator boom, of course, around the early 90s, and they put everything out that they could. And I think this collection of reprints just fell by the wayside because people were into like the now, and they seemed to, by this time, comics. I kind of bemoaned this on my Facebook page earlier today, that ever since the boom and then the collapse of the boom market, it seems like everybody takes any comic and is precious with it. Now, I have some books I'm very careful with, but I also have, most of them, I read them, and I don't care if they get a little dog-eared here and there. When I have the hardcover reprints, that's I'm more careful for, but these are like just fun books you mess around with. And this only lasted 6 issues. It was like the brainchild of Tom Brevoort, who was he was the most mainstream editor at the time, aside from Mark Grunwald. And I have all these issues originally, and I had to get this because the package is so great. So they had a Spider-Man magazine, and I guess it was takeoff from Judge Dredd's magazine that came out for a while, or 2000 AD. Either way, there was a lot of nice little stuff in there. And when I got tired of seeing 5th generation image artists, just crap out stuff for Marvel, I decided to go backward, go to my roots. Anyway, listen to me. Well, this is 1994, and you get 96 pages for $3. Even then, that's a great deal. What's great is they all had new covers. Now, I'm ashamed to say I don't know who did this cover. I know, here, I'll zoom in on it a little bit. I know that Mark Farmer inked it, but I can't figure out it's D something, 1994. And these were specific covers that Brevoort hired artists to do brand new ones to catch people's eye, and I really love it. So, and it basically goes to reprinting the early 80s, like the creme de la creme of the early 80s. This is before Walt Simonson's Thor, with the exception of Byrne's Hulk, which is in here, but most of them were around the early 80s. Whoa. Okay. So here's the first Byrne, all Byrne issue. Not Auburn issue. And it's first time Byrne's inking himself, and it's pretty good. Man, he got a lot of shit though for it though. The woman at the salon cut Susan's hair I can't think of her name. Give me a second. Veronica Lake. Thank you, Drew. Now I kind of dug it. It was kind of cute. So that was this appeared elsewhere in one of the previous FF books. Now, here's the thing. I didn't realize this until somebody had mentioned it. I've read tons. I pretty much own everything Byrne owns in reprint. But he had this habit of ending the book a page early, and then he would spend the rest of the next page explaining things. It would just sort of end that way. And but when he did cliffhangers, though, that was great. This was Byrne channeling Kirby and Ayers. So now we jump to early Frank Miller stuff. It's right after the Deathstalker issue, and they got all new storyline now. And it's Roger McKenzie, Frank Miller, and Klaus Janson kicking some ass on this. really enjoy. And like I said, it is the best stuff. What's interesting, I assume that David Michelini and Bob Layton started on this storyline because they come in the second part of this story. But it's still Bill Mantlo writer, but John Romita Jr. jumps on, which just so excited about it. Dan Green, who we lost recently, was the embellisher. So it's just really, really great stuff, you know. And then we go into continue next issue, and there we got John Byrne, classic John Byrne with Bob Wyacek on the inks. The beginning of the very short-lived run that Byrne did on the Hulk. It was so exciting, and he only stayed like 6 months. And the reason he left is because he did one book that was all splash pages of the Hulk, and basically Denny O'Neil, the editor, didn't like it, and ended up in Marvel Fanfare later on. And frankly, looking at it, I mean, I looked at it, and it wasn't sensational. It was, I don't know, it was trying to be like real heady and deep, but really it just seemed like a filler. So I love that stuff. Yeah, so I mean, nice, you know, you get some good books here. You can even buy them and send them to friends who, you know, were born way too late for the cool stuff. Some new Frank Miller. A new Frank Miller cover there. This is 1994. You can see he's got his Sin City on right there. I like the Thing and Iron Man and Hulk. It's like, how many minutes did it take him to do this cover? But it's still pretty cool. Still pretty cool. And they tell you a little bit about the story. These formats don't work. It's like everything's got to be a hardcover or soft cover. And again, it's like Byrne ends up with the end bullshitting, although it was apropos in this time. Here you got Frank Miller and Klaus Janson and a very sexy Black Widow. Getting that fight on. Then now we move to David Michelini and Bob Layton with John Romita Jr. And right away, the quality of it. I mean, Dan Green was kind of new at the time. Or maybe it wasn't a perfect fit, but when Bob Layton came aboard, it was just a match made in heaven or the multiverse or Counter Earth or something. And there you got that Bob Layton. He pour on that shiny magic that he does on Iron Man. Come on. Focus, people. There we are. There we are. And right away, I was just amazed. Also, he wasn't treated like a wuss. It's like in the old days, like, I don't know, like in the 70s, these people, the Animen, these turkeys, with each have, they're like one-trick ponies. They would probably beat the shit out of Iron Man. But it's like now, it was clear that they were outclassed by Iron Man. And to me, that was incredible. This is about 1979, I think this came out. And really terrific stuff. And then we go for back into the Hulk with Byrne. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I'll get on to third. Whoa, what was that? Here we go, man. And women. Michael friggin' Golden doing a brand new cover. Wow, I just love that. I mean, his stuff screams the 80s. I'm not trying to pigeonhole him. It's just that's where he, you know, he made us aware that art could be completely different than the old ways. You know, he just kind of really, I can't quite describe it. I don't think any artist fully understands how Michael Golden's brain works, because he'll do stuff that nobody else, even his imitators, can figure out. And you know, that's my man Iron Man on the cover. We get Spider-Man, Spy Master, and now we got there's Ego with the Living Planet. I really enjoyed Ego on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. There we go. Roger McKenzie still writing it, and also, as I might have mentioned previously, Daredevil is still bi-monthly until like 171. So, you know, as great as this was, although it might have given Frank Miller time to perfect his craft, because he gets better with every issue. So now we're resuming with David Michelini. beautiful stuff. And John Romita Jr., you can see he's really psyched for this stuff. Then we got, go back to Byrne's Hulk. Now here's the weird thing. Yeah, we get into the bi-coastal Avengers, they were called. Got the West Coast and you got the East Coast. And you know what? Aside from Leighton and Romita Jr. and I don't see a lot of people drawing Iron Man's armor that cool, the Silver Centurion. And what Mark Bright did, actually, he did a great job too. But anytime he appeared elsewhere, that a lot of people just couldn't figure it out because it's hard. I mean, where do you start? But it's cool. And the new ponytail Doc Samson, who finally changed his stupid shirt into like a cool. That is great. That's another page I'd love to own. I want to own them all. There's that. And you can get these super cheap on eBay if your store doesn't have them nearby. Lee Weeks. Oh my gosh, I just love his stuff. His stuff. He looks like he was born to work at Marvel. He has done stuff for DC. I think for 1 year he had a contract with DC, but anything he does, it's like the sort of simplicity of this cover is something most people could not pull off because it's harder to do fewer lines and really sell the image than it is to put all that window dressing all over it. I'm not against window dressing. I mean, I do it all the time. There's the thing. And, people really gave Byrne shit about his inks, and I'm like, I'm digging it. I mean, it'd be nice to have Sinnott, but he went over to ROM Space Knight. I thought he did a really great job there. There's the Hulk, a previous issue. No. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. He meets the Hulk. And Joe Rubinstein does half of it, and half of it is Jansen, of course. Jansen. Here's a treat. Roger McKenzie and a very new Paul Smith, who came from animation, and that's why his stuff is so clean and airy and beautiful. Just it's so charming. This reminds me of like an old Silver Age book, but I love that. Just really, really cartoony, but I dig it. There's another page I'd love to have. And it's funny, he's one of those guys who can contort Iron Man's armor enough to give an expression like that. It looks like he's smiling, but he can't really do that. Just, this is the Hulk. Really cool stuff. Now, where is that? Oh, there's no pen up here yet. Good stuff. Now, here's my thing, though. If this book would keep going on, Byrne only lasted 6 issues and he left, and then Milgram took over, and then it was really like a very spotty year after that. I mean, if this book had taken off and they had continued it, maybe it would jump a year ahead, and till Peter David and Todd McFarlane got on the book. That's just my theory. But okay, so issue 5, Byrne doing a new cover, and this is very, very Fantastic Four centric. Okay, you got Terror in a Tiny Town, which is a classic. I remember reading that in Ohio, Wickliffe, Ohio, over my Aunt Flo's place, Flo and Uncle Chuck. It's funny how areas get imprinted on you when you read a comic, especially when you're young and impressionable. Wow, here's a beauty of a page here. And what's funny is, a couple issues later, Al Milgrom made Hulk, the Great Hulk, and Byrne denies that he wasn't going to do that. But Byrne, he's so much into the back to the basics that I can't imagine he wouldn't see the opportunity of having the original gray, nasty Hulk that Peter David and Todd McFarlane just made the book more interesting than it had been in years. I mean, even better than the short-lived Byrne run. So, and, that's my opinion. Yeah, pretty well-informed opinion. Yeah. Nice, cool stuff. I mean, Byrne doesn't shy away from drawing anything. Oh, and we jump ahead to Okay, that wraps up. Marvel 2-in-150, which is the first time Byrne had written and penciled a book for Marvel. Inks by Joe Sinnott. And it's a terrific story. And, there you go. You got the Thing in his primitive early first 2-3 issues where he was just looked like a pile of baby poo or something, or orange marshmallows. Those peanut mushrooms they sell. And if you threw them up, that's what it would look like. Just throw a couple eyes and a mouth on it. Okay, enough. I hope you're not eating while you're watching this. But here's the thing. Now, here's the thing about this. Byrne loved leaping back to that era, so I know Byrne would make a great Hulk happen. I think he just took his ideas and left, and Milgram and others just took the idea, and it was almost like spoon-fed to them. Such a great issue. It's so very great. Okay, I'm trying to find something that's really, really cool. Here we go. All new pinup by Bernie Wrightson, baby. Wow, that's awesome. Oh, the train, they're coming after me. And a new cover by Scott McDaniel, who was the then Daredevil artist. So, here's a torch. I can't turn my pages. Oh, okay. I love that. That's so funny. You get turned into Cable. I'll have to show that cover. I bought the book. It was $3.90. It was $2.95 because it had the chromium cover, and I got it for like $1 at my local comic shop. Expose. Roger McKenzie and Frank Miller. The only thing that's missing is the covers of the original covers. That's something that should have been in there, but that's okay. There weren't a lot of Marvel reprints at the time, which is insane. They did 27 volumes of Marvel Masterworks, and then they quit because I guess the sales were getting lower, and then they did occasional trade paperbacks. Like they would do of the stories that were very popular, like the Dark Phoenix saga that got reprinted, every few years, like the Korvac saga from Avengers, and some specific Spider-Man ones too. I guess Brevoort sensed that the book must not be selling enough that it would warrant another issue of McElhaney and Layton and John Romita Jr.'s Iron Man, so they go way back to issue 47, which is Barry Windsor-Smith, inked by Jim Mooney, which I'm not keen on. The faces are great, though. Mooney's just spectacular when it comes to... And I like Mooney as an artist. It's just that he kind of flabs it out, I guess. Flab. Meanwhile, there's some real ugly art that's been current. Yeah, okay, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. That's it. And I was bummed out because at $2.95, like I said, I'd get this over a chromium cover any day of whatever book. So, like I said, you got you some Wrightson, some McDaniel, some Lee Weeks, Byrne, and Michael Colton, yeah, and Frank Miller, and this mystery artist. If you have any idea who this is, the first issue, please leave a comment below, because I just can't discern it. Because at this time in 1994, there were so many newbies out there, so many new. And if you had a pulse, you'd be into comics. I got into comics then. It's like I came after the boom, so I didn't see any big money. I missed the whole boat. But at the time, they were flooding the shelves, and books were selling. Like so many books were selling. Like they would do a whole bunch of books like Ghost Rider, then Spirits of Vengeance, and Johnny Blaze. Like they had so many group comics they could separate or put them together, and this just got lost in the shuffle, I guess. And that's a shame. So yeah, you can pick these up real cheap. That's all for now. Hope you enjoyed this. Please hit like, and if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. If you know a fan of this era, and who isn't, please hit the share button to share with somebody else, because that also helps that precious algorithm that we have to band together and defeat. So that's all. Okay, it's getting on 20 minutes. Ciao.